Hey, welcome back. Good to see you. My volume's too loud. There we go. Okay, we're looking at start walk and stop walk today. So I've got my blend space set up, just that hooked up to the output pose. So let's play and see what that might look like. So we're standing there stationary, and it would help if I turned us down to walking, and we start walking, and then we stop walking. And that is the first thing that we want to do today is record that action. So I come here and I never remember where this is. We're looking for the take recorder. So we have the take recorder up. We are going to hit play. We're going to add our source from actor. That's our hero. We're going to start recording. 3, 2, 1. We're going to make sure that we're at walking speed. And then we start recording, get a good walk cycle, and then we're going to stop. And that's it. Okay, that's recorded. Where is it saving it? Somewhere. Game cinematics takes, and then today's date. Hit continue. Failed to save. Let's see what we got out of that. Maybe something. We're going to go to cinematics, takes, today's date. So you can see I'm recording this on August 5th. We've got our subscenes and our animation. So it's going to be one of these. So we have our animation, and then we have our start. We've got our loop, and then we have our stop. So we want to break those out into a start animation that gets us fully into the loop. And then from the loop, we're going to break that out into a stop animation. So let's go ahead and get those set up. So we're going to bring this animation right here into a new sequencer file. And let's just drag this one in because it might be what we're looking for. This is the sequencer file that was recorded. Let's see here. Don't want all this junk. Can I even delete that? Nope. There's the sword. SKM, there's the mesh, SKM. Okay. But I bet I can trash that. Nope. Can't do. Okay, let's set up another sequencer. And I'm sure I have. Let's go to cinematics, actually takes today's date. Subscenes. Let's put it here in the animation. Just save that. Back to, whoops, allocation. Bring in our sequencer file. We'll edit that one. Get rid of the one that we don't like. We are going to unhide our character there. Bring her in. We're going to add our animation, which is, I think it was this one. Go back to sequencer, plus, paste that name in there, and then bam, we got that animation. Bam. All right, let's see if we get our start. So our start is actually right after frame 150. So let's go here, and we'll set a key there. Then we got our stop So we'll do that there. So that's where we want our time range for now. It's almost 150 frames. And we'll bake this down to our control rig. And then we'll trash those. Then let's see here. We're going to look at the curves. That's a lot, but now we can see like where it starts really. And then where it stops really. So let's say frame 7, so I don't want anything before that. And let's look at our animation for our walk. Heroes, girl, anims, locomotion, unarmed. It's the only way I can remember stuff is if I talk to myself. Okay, we're looking at that frame is what we want right there. That's our reference. So we're in our sequencer. Bam, that'll be that one. On frame 27. But let's take it to here, around 45, just in case. Let's see this. Close enough. So I can take that frame from that animation and match it up, just like I can take the idle frame later. So let's say this one, 45. So that'll be our start. So if we're moving it back, that'll be 42 now. 38. Yes, 45 minus 7 would be 38. Okay. And then now we need our stop animation. That's going to be over here. So let's take 2 full cycles. So let's go 1, 2, stop. So let's find that frame. That's going to be about that one. It says 92. Let's take here and delete. And we're going to go to 40, 38. Just clean this up here and delete. So those should be roughly the same frame. In fact, we'll make them the same frame. So let's copy that over. And that didn't do anything. Let's do it here. Shift right click. Not that frame. We want 92. Okay, so 38, shift right click on 92 and paste that key. Whoops, there we go. Set that key. Awesome. And then we've got our stop animation right there. So let's say our stop ends at 135. So let's delete that. Okay, so now we have our start and our stop animation. So let's get it out of here. We're going to come to our anim folder, start. We're just going to duplicate this, start, walk. Oops, get rid of that. Number 1 there. That's the name we want. So let's go ahead and export that one. Sequencer, bake animation sequence, anims, locomotion, unarmed, start, and save over that one. Let's try that one more time. Getting the actual frame number we want. Bake animation sequence, anims, locomotion unarmed start, and export that. Then let's get our stop. Let's go ahead and create that one too. We're going to duplicate our run stop. That'll be walk, stop. There we are. So that's the name we want. We're going to come to our sequencer. We're going to set our first key there, our time range, bake animation, sequence, locomotion unarmed, stop. Okay, cool. So we should have our start and stop. There they are. So one of the reasons why we duplicated the run start and stop, hopefully they saved them in there, are yes, we've got our footplate information. So that's good. So one of the things I forgot to do, which is actually pretty crucial, I may need to start that process all over. Where am I? Let's come here to cinematics, takes, today's take, subscenes, animation. One crucial step I forgot. So we're going to take this animation because it's all in place right now, and we're going to enable root motion. There we are. And then we're going to turn off force root lock. That's interesting. There it is. Just turn off everything. Our root's going with it. And that's what we want. So I'm going to pause it and redo all that and come back when I'm done. Okay, I'm back. Unpaused. I wanted to show this process because now that we have the root motion in here, so just to catch you up, we brought in our animation. We checked root motion on, or basically we unchecked everything so that root motion would travel. Um, then we baked it down to our control rig, and we found our uh, first frame of our animation and our last frame of our animation, depending on if we're starting or stopping. And of course, the root motion is traveling. So what we want to do, or what I like to do, is to make sure, since we're already here, I want this to stop at 0. So we're here. So we're copying this. I find it interesting that we're on X here, but we'll see how this plays out. Okay, so we're going to say we took this last value here, and this is basically our start portion, our stop portion of our animation. So I don't really care what happens to our start. We're just going to take our last key value here. We're going to select this and say minus equals that. So that should set it to 0. So we should be arriving at 0 when we're stopped. Okay. So on this one, we're going to take our first value, 674. We're going to take all our keys here, and we're going to start it at 0, like that. So you're moving away from 0. So I'm doing that to help us understand like the distance matching that we'll use. So I have a distance matching system. I can explain that later. But basically, in a TLDR, uh, however fast your capsule is moving, it'll pick an animation curve value that represents that distance on that frame of your animation. So if we go to our run start, we have this distance curve here. So it starts at 0, a value of 0, and then it works up to full speed, basically, value of 713. So guess I'm explaining it. Where's my character? There we are. So let's see here. We turn all this off. You can see how the character, our little hero girl, is moving forward. And say we had capsule movement that was moving all throughout this. So basically it's going to pick, like if the capsule moved, where is it? Say this frame here, this value, 150 units forward in like a tick. So the animation is just going to be popped right here. And then say the next tick, the capsule moves to here. And that's 297 units. So in the next frame, the animation will be popped right here. So basically this curve value is matching how far the capsule was moved. And the values that match how far the capsule was moved, that's going to be the frame that plays in the game. Okie dokie. Let's go back to our sequencer. So we have that set up. So 0 to whatever value that is, and from whatever value we're moving from back to 0, because 0 will be our stop location. So I think I did the same thing over here. So let's check out the stops. Forward stop. So same thing. Yeah, we're moving to 0. So that's that last value there will be basically almost 0. Not quite. And then this one is negative 500. Okie dokie. So as we're moving closer to our stop location, our distance is shortening. So that's why like the value goes from a number to 0, because we're decreasing our distance from where we are to our predicted stop location, which is going to be our 0 value. Okie dokie. I hope that makes sense. We are moving on, and we're going to export out these animations once again. So we're coming here, and we're getting our start. Going to sequencer, baking out our animation, anims, locomotion, unarmed, start. And then we're going to get our stop animation. Sequencer. Ah, okay. Because I have stop selected, I forgot to set the time range. Okay. Export out our stop at the correct time range. Then let's export out our start with the correct time range. 0. Set our time range. Go to 38. Set our time range. We're going to export that out. Anims, locomotion, unarmed, start. And we're exporting. So cool. So next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to save our anims, open up one of them. Here it is. And we're going to set a new distance curve. So if we go to window, one of these animation attributes, no, let's close that one. Window, It is animation modifiers. There it is. And there's an animation modifier that I use called distance curve. We're going to check the X, Y, just the X. So yeah, it looks like I'll have to rotate this animation too. So that's no bueno. Okay, so it is just on X. So if we're moving left, that'd be great. But first, let's come back here to our sequencer. We're gonna trash these. So I just am working with animation move start. Bring that over. I don't know why that's so long. Oh, is this 30 frames per second? Dang it. That should be 24. There we are. And we're going to bake this down. Bake animation. Whoops. Bake to control rig. And we're going to delete that. So now we have our walk. We would have our walk. One of those crucial steps. Asset details. And we're going to turn all this off so our character actually rotates and moves forward. Same thing with our stop. Where is it? Oh, there it is. And we've got our stop like that. Okay, so next thing that we're going to do is bring in our animation. And we see that our character moved to the right. So that's my bad when we were recording. So when we're recording, we should be facing Y forward, not Z, X forward. So let's remember that. So let's go to the player start and so 0, 0, 0, I want 90. There we are. That's the way it needs to be. Okay. So we're going to come here, bake to control rig. We're going to clean up this root, get it moving the correct direction. So if we rotate this 90, that should fix that. We're going to copy this curve and come to our anim details. We're going to paste it on our Y curve. So we should be moving diagonally now. Yes. And then we're going to come to our, actually one of the things I like to do, we're going to come to our Y curve now, paste it here. So we got it on our mover, and then that way I can just delete these two, get these down to 0. So we're going to say X, Y, and then select the curve. Values should be 0. So that's good. And now all we have to do is get rid of this rotation. So that's going to be 0. So now we're moving forward and we need to fix the root over here. So looks like our root was offset. So we don't want that. That's going to 0 that out. And then we're going to come to our Z rotation and 0 that out. And there we are. Now we have our animation the way it should be. So we're going to bake this out now. So bake anim sequence, anims, locomotion, unarmed, start. Ha, that is not that. Bake animation sequence, anims, locomotion, unarmed, start. Okay, so we've got that baked out now. Let's double check. Walk starts. It'll be the unsaved one. Oops, should have done that here. Walk start forward. Okay, so now we're moving forward on Y. And now we can get our curve to be on Y. So that looks right. We're going to apply modifiers. It has an error. Root motion is disabled. So let's come here and enable root motion. Apply modifier. Says yes. And that didn't do anything. Why not? What's funny is that it's just a curve. So, it's just set it yourself. We say apply. Modifier cannot find smart name. Container for curve name distance while trying. Okay, so let's see if there's another one I can use. Motion extractor modifier. We want Y translation. We want the root. We don't want any math there. We want a curve name. Curve name is going to be distance. And then apply modifiers. It is not extracting that. Still. What if I turn that off real quick? Nope. Still complaining about root motion being disabled, but now it took it. So that's weird, but at least we got it. So we got the curve. We just set those back and we're fine. Okay. All right, we're going to save that. So now we're going to do our stop. Same thing. So we're going to delete this animation out of there. Get our stop name, copy, sequencer, add a track, not a tract. Okay. Oops, right there. Animation is a little longer, 42. So same thing, we're gonna bake now to our control rig. Boom, we did it. Okay, so now we're going to take this motion from our root and then paste it on our little global control here for Y. Oops, here. There we are. Then we're going to take our root and our body mover. Set these all to 0, all of these curves. So we've got all of our translation and our Z rotation set to 0. And then voila, now we're stopping. So that's great. So now what we're going to do, copy this, copy the name. Now we're going to bake it. So anims, locomotion, unarmed, stop. Okay, that should be baked down. Open this up a bit. Let's just double click. There we go. And we'll go to our stop. Whoops. I'm not sure what happened there. Walk, stop, forward. Here we are. So same thing. I mean, let's just see if this works. It might. Let's try with both of them on apply. Nope, it all got zeroed out. Let's try our other one. Motion extractor. We'll delete this curve here. That distance curve modifier, though, I think it does something funky on our pivots, so I'll probably still need to figure out why that's not working. So root translation, we'll want to name it. We'll want to name it distance and apply. So now we've got our distance curve there. So we need to set up our foot plant. So should have done this on the other one too, but didn't. And we want our root. There we go. That way we can see where we are. And we're going to show bones selected only. So probably about right there. That's our left foot planting. There's our right foot planting. So we're going to copy those. There's our left foot planting. We're just going to paste relative on both of those. And maybe there. And I'm going to move this turn and place one up here. Okie dokie. I've got a can turn and place notify. Let me see. Can turn and place. That's probably a notify that's read by the anim graph. I don't remember off the top of my head right now. But basically, this animation will play out. And then once it hits here, then, you can turn and place at that point. So we'll go to our start animation. Oh, before we leave this one, I'm going to set our grip motion values and then save it. Come over here, and then we'll set our planting. Not sure if that one's going to count. So that's a right foot there. But let's go ahead and make that one count. So that's left foot, right foot. Move that over just a smidge. Left foot. And let's say that's right foot. And then, cool. So we'll save that. Turn these back on. So the other thing that you need with, what is it, distance matching is this curve compression setting. I got that from the Lyra project. Because that's where I got like this distance matching from. But it's a different way to just read this curve. So it just makes this animation kind of the way I think about it. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but the way I think about it is that it makes this animation be scrubbable, an explicit time animation, rather than it just playing. So we have a play anim sequence, so a sequence player. And then if you have a sequence player, you can convert that to a single frame animation down here. If there was an animation there, let's just pull this one in here. Now we can convert to a single frame. There we are. Oh, sequence evaluator. So yeah, there's your explicit time. So your explicit time on that animation is being scrubbed by the animation curve, and in relation to where the capsule is at any moment. So like I said, if it was let's say a distance of 100 and we were at 0.5 of that animation, then that's where the animation would go on that frame at 100 units from 0 for the capsule moving. Okay, so if we connect this, and we go back to our locomotion graph, we have our start. This is going to be convoluted. I think I showed this elsewhere, but we have our start here, start forward. And all we want to do is grab our walk. We want underscore F there. Okay, walk starts. So we're walking. Which one are you? That's this one. And that was a good guess. I just dragged that in there. So that should work there. And I don't think I have to do any of these other ones. Not yet. And then just going backwards, and then we have our move stop. And then we're stopping while moving forward. Then our walk. There's that one again. So we're just going to drag in our walk stop there. Compile. Save that. So we're going to play. And then we're going to watch the graph, see which one is playing. Oh boy. I ruined the runs. Run forward. Actually, what I'll do is I'll undo those changes. It's thinking. And one more. Okay, great. So we're going to play here. Now we're going to set our walk speed. So it played our stop animation there. So great. Now we've got everything set up. So it should be playing our stop too. So let's check that. So let's go here, up, up. Oops, go back, move start, starts. And we should see this walk start play. There we go. Cool. Okay, everything's set up. All right, well, that'll be the end of today's video. I'm not going to save any of the sequencer stuff or anything because all I wanted was that raw animation out. So now I've got that and in the game, and I can use that capsule movement to start building a proper start and stop animation. So start, stop, start, stop. So great. Hopefully that was painless. Happy animating out there. Hopefully you're enjoying your own journey on your own projects.